becoming that helps you become a purpose-driven leader. Rather than saying clarity, I should have said quote. No, I've actually forgotten all those words for clarity that we had in that quiz. So, just for the sake of our guests, Toastmasters International is a non-profit education organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills through a worldwide network of clubs. And our mission is the same as any other Toastmasters club, is that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Specifically here at Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club, we help Toastmasters become advanced speakers through in-depth evaluations and targeted education sessions. Every meeting is designed to challenge your skills, stretch your abilities, and equip you to deliver speeches with greater impact and confidence. At this point in time, I would like to hand back to the Sergeant at Arms to please share the meeting rules. Over to you, Tigist.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Give me 1 second to share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you all see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I will hereby share the meeting guidelines to help us have a smooth and enjoyable meeting. Karibu sana to everybody once again to Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club. I will start by reading out privacy statements that come from Toastmasters International that are relevant to online meetings like ours, as well as the virtual hosting service. So by attending this remote club meeting, you agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages may be shared with other meeting participants and will be recorded by Toastmasters International, who may use the recording in the future as it sees fit. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, inappropriation of likeness, or defamation. So as you can see, these are standard statements, given that this is a recorded meeting, which will be shared beyond this room. We have renaming conventions, rather. In order to identify everyone correctly, we invite you to rename yourselves, based on your role in this meeting. If you are a Toastmaster with a role, you will rename yourself beginning with a hashtag, then an abbreviation of your role, underscore your name. I'm Sergeant at Arms. The abbreviation of my role is SA. So my renaming convention is hashtag SA underscore my name. The super grammarian is SG, so hashtag SG underscore name, and it goes like that. Our chat master will be sharing a full list of renaming convention for Toastmasters with roles. So please rename yourselves accordingly. If you're a Toastmaster present in the room, but you don't have a particular role in this meeting, please rename yourself by putting your name first, then underscore, and then the club that you're coming from, be it Watabaruku, or if you're a visiting Toastmaster, please put your club name. And for guests, you need to start with guest underscore and then your name, right? So this helps us identify everybody who's in the room and address you correctly. So please indulge us by doing that right away. And the chat master will post the complete renaming convention in the chat so you can continue to refer to it. If you're struggling to rename yourself, please also send them a private message so they can help you. And we have a few guidelines for a smooth meeting. We encourage everybody to keep your video on throughout the meeting if possible. This will encourage speakers and everybody else who takes the podium to speak, and also assures us of your full presence. Please keep your microphone on mute if it's not your turn to speak. Throughout the meeting, please use the Zoom chat and reaction buttons to engage. And Watabaruku's strength is giving a lot of feedback. You have 3 formal feedbacks for speakers, but at certain intervals, we'll also be launching polls where everybody in the meeting participates. So please make sure to participate when you're guided and the polls are launched. Finally, please enjoy. If you're a visitor, visit us again and consider becoming a member. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Sergeant at Arms Tigist, for giving us those rules that are going to help us enjoy this meeting better. My name is Robert Karanja, DTM, the club president, and I would like to acknowledge our club officers of the year 2025-2026. And as I introduce them and give them an opportunity to greet the audience, I would like them to answer this question. We are coming to the end of our Toastmasters year, but in reality, we are at the threshold of a new Toastmasters year. And so over the next 1 year, what skill are you planning to build? Whether it is leadership, public speaking, or any other skill outside Toastmasters, what one skill are you looking to build over the next 12 months? And I'll start off by introducing our Vice President Education, Dr. Kevin Rubia. Over to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll miss your difficult questions. One skill I plan on taking up is just the ability to chill. I sometimes get a bit frenetic, so I'm going to learn to chill by the grace of God. Back to you.
Thank you so much, VP Kevin. I myself am also going to try that and fail, hopefully succeed. I've failed for the last 3 years, but this year I'm very optimistic about it. Our Vice President membership is Gilbert Rutembembero. Our Vice President Public Relations, Maggy Wathiru. Over to you, Maggy, to please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here and to see so many familiar faces. I look forward to interacting with you for the next 2 hours. Back to you, Mr. What was the question? What am I going to do in the next year? I'm not chilling. Lead some more, unfortunately or fortunately. Just keep giving back and also focus on my growth. Back to you, Mr. President.
Absolutely. Amazing goals. We wish you all the best in this coming year. Our Secretary Treasurer, Sarah Wanjiru, and our Sergeant at Arms, Tigist Hailu. Over to you, Tigist, to please answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll look like I'm a copycat if I say I'm also wanting to learn to chill. That and I'm learning many things. I'm in a life trajectory right now, so it's going to be a year full of learning and unlearning. But one thing that I have been postponing up to this point is learning to ride a bike. I'm not giving up. So by the end of this year, please check on me. I should learn to ride a bike. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. And luckily for you, your city has so many bike lanes. And so there's not going to be any kind of excuse for you not to learn how to ride a bike. by the end of this year. Our immediate past president, Kevin Kimbio, over to you, Kevin, to please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. The one skill that I would want to learn over the next 12 months is how to swim. It's a mode of transport just like Tigist, so I'd like to learn how to swim. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Kevin Kimbio. We wish you all the best, and yeah, we'll pray for you as you embark on that journey of learning how to swim. For myself, my goal for this year is learning how to draw. So I bought myself a sketchbook and a pencil, and I try and sketch random things in my home. So by the end of this year, I hope I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be at least not too bad at drawing. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce the guest. Anybody who's joining us for the first time, or you're joining us you've come to visited us several times. We would like to hear where you're joining us from, and if possible, answer that question that I've posed to our officers. Anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Anybody going once? Yes, Andrew.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Wana. I'm from Toastmasters Pillar in Uganda, Kampala. It's my first time here, and I'm honored to be here. If there's one thing that I want to learn this year is to stay calm amidst adversity. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Andrew, for joining us all the way from Kampala. And hope you have an amazing time this evening. Anybody else who would like to introduce themselves? Very good. We hope we get to know each and every one of you and interact with you through the roles that you've taken or through the chat. And we hope that every one of us who's joining us this evening is going to have an amazing time, and you're going to leave this place better than you came in. Just before we proceed to the meeting, I would like to handle a bit of club business. The minutes of our previous meeting were shared in the WhatsApp group for the members by our secretary treasurer. I think it was after the last meeting that we had. Are there any amendments to those minutes? There being no amendments and with no objections, we will adopt those minutes as they were shared in the group. Thank you so much. And thank you. And at this point, I would like to hand over to our immediate past president and incoming vice president membership to please conduct an induction of two of our newest members. Over to you, Kevin Kimbio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow Toastmasters, it is my privilege to welcome and induct our newest member, Tracy Mamu and Lorna Abaki, into the Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club. Tracy Mamu and Lorna Abaki, by joining Toastmasters, you are becoming part of a worldwide organization dedicated to helping people develop communication and leadership skills in a supportive environment. Membership brings both opportunities and responsibilities. We ask that you commit to your personal growth, participate actively in club activities, support fellow members, and contribute to the positive spirit of our club. Do you pledge to attend meetings regularly, prepare for your assignments, participate actively, support your fellow members, and strive for continuous improvement? Please confirm your commitment by responding, I do. Lorna Abaki. Lorna Abaki,
I
you're
do.
muted. Thank you. Tracy
I
Mamu.
do.
Thank you.
I do.
Fellow club members, Thank you. Fellow club members, do you pledge to support our new members with encouragement, constructive feedback, friendship, and opportunities for growth? Fellow club members, please unmute and respond. We do.
We do. I do.
We do.
We do.
Thank you. Congratulations, Tracy Mamu and Lorna Abaki. On behalf of the members of Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club, I officially welcome you as a Toastmaster. We look forward to supporting you on your journey of growth and achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, please join me in welcoming our newest members to the club. By a round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Kevin Kimbio. Welcome to Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club, Lorna Abaki and Tracy Mamo. We hope that you're going to experience tremendous growth as part of this community. We are so glad to have you as part of us. Please keep your videos on, especially during the prepared speeches, to offer visual, positive, and supportive feedback to our members. And tonight's meeting will be guided by our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead us through prepared speeches, impromptu speaking, and evaluations, all tied together with our theme, Living with Intentionality. Tonight's Toastmaster of the day is Laurie Bweyenda, and Laurie is a seasoned payments and operations specialist with an extensive background in the financial sector. A champion of digital transformation, Laurie specializes in guiding teams through industry evolutions while staying fiercely future ready. Driven by a commitment to continuous self-improvement, Laurie uses Toastmasters to cultivate advanced communication skills and executive presence. Above all, Laurie is passionate about mentorship and finds the greatest professional fulfillment in unlocking the potential of human capital and watching teams grow. Please put your hands together. Please use the emojis to show appreciation as we welcome Laurie onto the stage. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Laurie.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for the humbling welcome. I'm quite impressed and humbled to be in this online experience at Watabaruku. And you might ask yourself, why did I choose the theme, Living with Intentionality? I like to start with a personal story. Some years back, just when I joined my institution, I got to be given a team. And in this team, I would work with them, but for some reason, they felt I was not the leader they wanted to have. To take matters into my own hands, I called for a meeting and I asked them, what is the problem? Lo and behold, I was told the kind of management and leadership I was giving was in that when I'm speaking to someone, I am shouting. Could you believe that? I grew up talking to everybody and no one ever told me that I shout. But yes, you are in a corporate organization and here it is your team are telling you you're shouting. That moment, I felt my values were on trial and the team was the jury. I had to make a choice of whether to let that feeling continue or be intentional and become the leader that I'm expected to be. As we know, life doesn't become meaningful by chance. It becomes meaningful by choice. I had to be intentional. Becoming a purpose-driven person calls for focus on personal growth, mindset, and everyday choices. You can imagine, since that particular time, I've had to grow intentionally in each and every opportunity I've been given to lead a certain team. That ultimately has designed a life that truly reflects who I am. And that's what I'm hoping my Toastmasters friend, even from my club, would attest to. What is intentionality? It is choosing your actions consciously living aligned to your values, acting with purpose and not impulse. You can imagine if the feedback came and I had an altercation with the team, would that have led us anywhere? Of course not. I had to be present in the decisions. Intentionality is about being in control of your life, not controlled by habits, emotions, or circumstances. You can imagine my gender. We like to be poignant every time somebody confronts us with something that we are not happy with. Our online experience will be divided into 3 segments. In the first segment, members will deliver prepared speeches and receive feedback through an audience poll. In the second segment, Toastmasters and guests will get a chance to practice impromptu speaking. And finally, the third segment will listen to triple-tiered evaluations that is only done in the advanced club like Watabaruku, and get reports from the role takers who I will introduce now. To start us off, I would like to introduce our super grammarian. Our super grammarian is Syria Rama. I had to find out from her how she has used the power of intentionality. And in her response, she said this: strength-based parenting, that is where she has applied it most. She finds it interesting when parents struggle with their teenagers. She wonders how, because she has not had to have any issue to complain about, because as she parented her son, and she still continues to do, he is an individual with his own wiring. Rather than creating a mini her, she has been intentional in giving him that space to be himself. And this has worked very well for her because he's able to share with her everything. Help me welcome our super grammarian, Syria Rama, to tell us about her role.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests, and welcome to this meeting. My role this evening as super grammarian involves a couple of things, and I'm going to share my screen just so you have a view of what I mean and what our word of the day is. Our word of the day today is, or rather, let me start with my role. As a super grammarian, I have double, triple roles of listening carefully to everyone who speaks and noting both excellent and improper use of language, overused words, filler words, words used as crutches, and also the usage of the word of the day. Our word of the day this evening is metanoia. And the pronunciation for that is metanoia. What is the meaning of metanoia? Before we get to the meaning, it is a noun. Synonyms for metanoia are epiphany, transformation, rebirth, regeneration, or conversion. What does metanoia mean? Its origin, of course, is in Greek. It means the journey of changing one's mind, heart, self, or way of life. It began in the spiritual or biblical historical aspect, but is now used within English literature. Examples in a sentence. And my machine has decided today is when it will lag. And as it lags, let me find. All right, there it is. Conversation is an encounter of metanoia, or or is it not a conversation? Not in the true sense of the word. Second example, since then, many of us have looked for signs of a metanoia. And I'll leave out the third one because you're unable to see it, I believe, as I am unable to see it on my screen. All right. Moving forward, I will be checking to see that we are encouraging the use of this word by clicking, clapping, using your reaction buttons when somebody uses the words or mentions metanoia in its right ways or the derivatives or synonyms. Please make sure you acknowledge them so that we can encourage the use of the word of the day. At the end of this session, during the evaluation section, I will prepare or I will present a brief evaluation both during individual evaluations and give my full report when I am called upon. And with that, I pass it back to Madam TMOD.
Thank you so much for that, our super grammarian, Syria Rama. Indeed, we need to use the word of the day, metanoia. And being in this club, Watabaruku, I'm very sure most of the Toastmasters here have gone through their metanoic experiences to join the club. Our second role taker is the timer. Our timer, Mine Maina. Her response to my question, what is that one thing that she has achieved through that power of intentionality? This is what she had to say. She intentionally gave herself a time plan in when to achieve her DTM. I'm privileged to welcome DTM Mine Maina to introduce her role. Welcome, Mine.
Good evening, Watabaruku Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters, and guests. My role today is to help us keep time using the virtual background. I will maintain the blue background and change it to green with the word of the day, which is metanoia, or yellow, or red. The prepared speeches and the general evaluator's report are 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I'll show the green. At 6 minutes, I'll show the yellow. And at 7 minutes, I'll show the red that will stay on until the speaker stops speaking. Table topics and language evaluations are 1 to 2 minutes. I will show the green at 1 minute, the yellow at 1.5, and the red at 2 minutes. For content and delivery evaluation and super grammarians report, 2 to 3 minutes, I will show the green at 2 minutes, the yellow at 2.5, and the red at 3 minutes. All speakers will appear in the polls. Only those within the qualifying time are eligible for awards. Therefore, aim to reach your green and conclude within 30 seconds after the red is flashed. A 30-second grace period is applied. I will keep my virtual hand raised for visibility. I will also post my report in the Zoom chat and deliver the report when I am called upon. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much for that information. Yes, as Toastmasters, we pride ourselves in keeping time. I know we are running behind, but I hope each and every person here is enjoying themselves and will not be very concerned on how we are running behind time. Thanks for that, our timer. The next role taker is the General Evaluator, Toastmaster Wahiga Gichinga. her response to my theme. One of the things she is modeling through is intentionality in leadership. And for this, she has thrown herself in deep ends to hone the same. Help me welcome General Evaluator Wahiga Gichinga to tell us about her role.
Thank you, Toastmaster Laurie. My role as the General Evaluator, I will be checking how each one of the role takers understood their role and how they met expectations as per the requirements. I will be celebrating what was done well, as well as checking and identifying areas of improvement or refinement. I will give my report when called upon. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Wahiga Gichinga, for that explanation. Why does intentionality matter? And that is why I asked each role taker to talk about how intentionality has changed their life. When you live intentionally, your life becomes something you create, not something that just happens for you. With this, it gives life direction. It reduces regret and confusion. It builds self-discipline, and it enhances fulfillment and growth. We move to our prepared speeches. And our first speaker is Toastmaster, and I pride myself to say DTM Maggy Wathiru. I hope I got the name right. Maggy, Toastmaster Maggy Wathiru. When I asked the question about how she has applied the power of intentionality, this is what she has to say. She said, everything, anything good in her life, whether it's spiritual, relationship, financial, health, even in Toastmasters growth, have all been positively influenced by intentionality. That's quite a piece. Maggy will be evaluated by Content Evaluator Robert Agutu, Delivery Evaluator Andrew Kamanu, and the Language Evaluator Syria Rama. Toastmaster Robert Agutu, please tell us the objectives of and title of Maggy Wathiru's speech.
Thank you. Thank you, Laurie, for the warm introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, it gives me the distinct pleasure of introducing DTM Maggy Wathiru, who will be doing her Level 2 Project 1 speech of a presentation mastery pathway. The purpose of her speech is to learn different communication styles and also identify her primary style, as well as the impact of their style on others. She'll have 5 to 7 minutes to complete her speech. And the title of her speech is Maggy Wathiru 5.4. Help me welcome Maggy Wathiru 5.4. Maggy Wathiru 5.4, Maggy Wathiru.
Let me take you on a journey back to the 1980s and the 1990s, when we relied on postal mail for almost all form of communication. Who here remembers this era when we had to send this kind of letters by show of hands? I'm looking forward to seeing some hands going up. It required a lot of patience and intentionality. You go to the post office to mail the letter, but before that, you buy the stamp, you buy the envelope, and then you make your way to the post office. Thank you, SAA. It did not come easy, but for you to be able to communicate, you were assured of one thing. You needed to be very clear on your message, and you needed to be very intentional, because once the letter enters the post office, there is no recalling it. Not like the way you can think about the message you just sent to Dr. Rubia and you thought, oh my God, that sounds rude, and you quickly delete before he sees it. You had to be very clear from the get-go. We used postal mail to send letters to our pen pals. I had many pen pals around the world. We sent letters for job applications to our family members, even to Kenya Power to complain about our power bills. Communication had to be very intentional, and you had to be very clear. I was very happy to see that in Toastmasters, we need to understand our communication style, because today we are in such a rush, but that it is very easy to make mistakes when we communicate with people. Toastmasters gives us 4 communication styles. This is how my communication style is placed in the order in which I will share it with you. My most dominant style is supportive communicator, followed closely by directing and analytical at the same level, and at the lowest level is initiating. Interestingly, when I looked at this project, when I did it in 2024, my lowest was supportive, which is now at the top, and initiating, which is now at the bottom, was at the top. What is going on here? Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, I do not have multiple personality disorder. This is me taking feedback that you all give me in meetings and when we interact. And I take it home with me, I think about it, I ponder, and I take action. And voila, the metanoia happens. Version 5.4, Maggy Wathiru version 5.4 arrives. Today, I want to share with you 2 important traits of a supportive communicator, which is the style that I fall in at the moment. I don't know what it is going to say in 2 years' time, because I'm a metanoic kind of leader. One, because it is a flip. On one side, we are very approachable. On the flip side, we avoid conflict. That always surprises people. Let's start with the strength. As an approachable leader, what does it mean to you? I want you to think about it, and I'm not going to ask you to share. When you're an approachable communicator, people find it easy to open up to you. They speak candidly, and you also are able to connect with people irrespective of their seniority, whether you're talking to the most senior person in the office or the gentleman who opens for you the gate. You speak to people in an approachable manner. You make them feel valued. That is me. And if you've interacted with me and you didn't get this part of me, well, I don't know what was happening that day, because that is naturally my personality. Knowing this about my personality gave me power under my wings to be a better friend, to be a better coach, to be a better leader. On the flip side, we avoid high tension environments. Conflict and Maggy do not blend. Many people like to call me Lioness in Toastmasters. Do not get it twisted and think that I like to fight. It is because I am loyal. I will only fight when I have to fight. But this has come with a lot of intentional action. When I realized that conflict really affects my peace, I did an assessment, emotional self-assessment, emotional intelligence self-assessment. I'll share with you a link because it has very many assessments that you can do to be able to understand what your personality is. It's recommended that because avoiding conflict is something I tend to do, I need to be more assertive. If you have interacted with me and I was assertive, you can see I took action. But what if you ask yourself, why does Maggy avoid conflict? It was not such a big deal. I wish you had met Mrs. Wathiru, the late. My mother stood at 5'8", and she did not take any fools captive, not even in her house. If she got wind that one of us was not talking to the other, my siblings and I, we were forced, literally forced, to stand facing each other and speak, laugh. In fact, if you have nothing to say, just look at each other until that ice broke. You are not going to sleep when you are fighting or you're not talking to one another, not under her roof. I don't know what kind of personality you are, what your communication style is. But if you do not understand your communication style, for me, it is supportive. I don't know what yours is. Please take the time to do it, even if it's not one of the projects in your pathways. You will find relationships easier and you will have lesser conflicts. There is a lady I love to read from, and I did a course on fearless living. Her name is Dr. Rhonda Britton, an American author. She says, treat people as if they're innocent. After all, even you are different. Your communication style is your superpower. Back to you, TMOD.
Let's give Maggy a round of applause for that educational yet humorous speech. Maggy has reminded some of us about the post office, and that would give away our ages. We won't talk much about it. But yes, it's important to understand what communication style are you? And Maggy, supportive, I agree, because I have felt it on a personal level. Thank you for that wonderful speech. I now ask the Sergeant at Arms to launch the audience feedback poll. And let's take 1 minute to complete that. Thank you. Right. Our next speaker is Fatma Amiyo. Her response to my theme question, the power of intentionality, was this. Through the power of intentionality, she has achieved personal growth. She is deliberate in creating time for her self-development, especially in this world filled with lots of responsibilities and commitments. For example, she sets apart time for Toastmasters, which has allowed her to complete her projects and is growing and becoming a better leader and communicator. Fatma will be evaluated by our content evaluator, Arether, Wanjiru, delivery evaluator, Oltesh, Thobias, and our language evaluator, Syria, Rama. Arether, Wanjiru, please tell us the objectives and the title of Fatma's speech. Thank you.
Evening, Toastmasters and guests. It is my distinct pleasure and privilege to be attending Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club this evening. Indeed, it is my metanoic privilege as I introduce our second speaker of the evening. Toastmaster Fatma will be delivering her speech this evening, and she is doing the advanced mentoring as her project. The purpose of her project is for her to apply mentoring skills during a long-term mentoring commitment, and she will be delivering a speech so that we can know some aspect of her project. She will be delivering her metanoic speech within 5 to 7 minutes. Fatma Amiyo, strength in sharing. Strength in sharing, Fatma Amiyo.
Earlier this year, I was assigned a mentee at work. As I was reading that letter, providing deliverables and the timeline, I was happy about two things. The first is that I'm a Toastmaster, because within Toastmasters, everything rotates around mentoring. Whether it's a new role, a new assignment, or you're new to the club, trust me, you would be mentored. So Toastmasters provided a metanoic perspective for me. The second thing that I was glad was that I had already started the Prepare to Mentor project. And what a wonderful opportunity, because I was supposed to mentor my colleague for one. I asked myself, am I really ready for this? I quickly went to the project and identified the tools. I saw 3 tools that really gave me structure. The first was the communication tracker. Very clear how we are supposed to meet, what we are supposed to discuss, the timings. The second tool was the monthly check-in. And the third tool that I looked at was the success plan. Short-term goals, medium-term goals, long-term goals. I was sure by the time we meet, I would be brilliant. But one thing was still holding me back. This was a person who's joining the organization, and I wasn't too sure whether I was the best person to take this colleague for 1 year. I started feeling a bit nervous, but I had to encourage myself. So the first meeting we had was not to discuss about the mentoring, was straight into class, and I invited her. I told her, just come and see how the session is run. And she asked me, so I'm just supposed to sit here? I was like, no, feel free. Is there a segment you'd like us to co-facilitate? And she was wondering, really, my first? I was like, but you've always done it where you've come from. Come on. This particular experience has taught me a lot. There is a lot of strength in sharing. But mentorship is just like any relationship. There must be trust. This evening, I'd like to share with you 3 things that I picked. The first is that I had to trust myself. I was thinking, now, what do I tell her? Am I really going to hug a whole year? But I had to remind myself, 7 years worth of experience is quite a long duration to take through someone over the unwritten rules, over what really matters, over how to survive in this environment. I had to trust myself. The second thing that I really learned was that I had to trust my mentee. Mentorship is 2-way. You could put in a lot of energy, have structures, have tools, have templates, but you know what? It's not about you. It's also about the other person. How many of us have mentees and possibly we didn't get far with that relationship? Maybe they stopped picking your calls. You got to a point, you started asking yourself very difficult questions. I wasn't getting into this relationship with my prior disappointments. This was a different person, a different opportunity, and therefore a different ballgame. I had to trust that, you know what, this will work. 1 year long, we are going to have so much engagement that I'm sure we are going to learn. And you know what? I didn't just give, I have received so much. Within the first week, I remember there was so much work and I was preparing some questions. And I just asked her, would you be kind enough to just see how we set the questions so that you can see whether there's something you could add? I was amazed. She told me that she had been trained on setting of questions and therefore there's a better way to do it. Alas, my fear had to go out. I had to trust my baby. The third thing that I picked was that I had to trust the process. When we look at 1 year, 6 months, it seems forever. And maybe that is why some of us who have started that path, we may have taken a bit of time to complete it. When you structure, don't think about 1 year. We don't know what happens tomorrow. Just focus on that day. The check-ins on the day, establishing, is there anything you're doing today? How are we faring on in terms of our progress? What do we need to do today? Do you need any support today? I realize I'm not going to wait for the end of the month. Anytime my mentee requires support, I would reach out. Anytime she would require support, she would reach out. We decided to just ensure that we are not looking at this as a formality, so that at the end of the day, we go and report what we have done over this period. It is about a day at a time. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, for you to have a metanoic experience within mentoring, it's about trust. There is a lot of strength in sharing, but you have to open your hearts. Free your mind from those negative experiences that you've had. You know what? Every day we get a fresh start. Use that to ensure that you trust yourself, trust the other party, and most importantly, trust the person. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Wonderful. Let's give her a round of applause for that inspirational, informational speech. Indeed, there is strength in sharing. Thanks for that reminder, Fatma, that we have the Toastmaster Mentorship Guide, which allows us to be conscious of how we go about doing mentorship between mentees and the mentors. And because of how you do it, you have to trust the process, and you actually see the metanoic growth in members. Let's continue being mentors in our clubs. Thank you so much for that reminder. I'll now ask our Sergeant at Arms to launch the Better Speaker poll. You can also launch the audience feedback poll. We now move on to our second segment. And before I call our table topics master, a reminder about something we need to know about being intentional. It's not living by default, versus living by design. When we talk about living by default, what are we saying? We are reactive in the choices we make. We are driven by comfort or fear, or we lack focus. But when you live intentionally by design, you make purposeful decisions, you have values-driven actions, and you get clear direction. The difference between average and extraordinary often lies in intentional decisions. I want now to welcome our table topics master, Toastmaster, Kevin Kimbio, as he also tells us how the power of intentionality has worked for him. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, our Toastmaster of the day. Indeed, the power of intentionality has helped me a lot in my career to pivot from one sector to the other. It has helped me to choose what I am going to do for the remainder of my life. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Table Topics provides those who have not yet spoken an opportunity to practice listening, critical thinking, and impromptu speaking. When called upon, please unmute and turn on your video if possible. Take a moment to think before speaking. You do not have to tell the truth. Speak for at least 1 minute, indicated by the timer's green virtual background. Remember to use the word of the day, metanoia, which means the journey of changing one's mind, heart, self, or way of life. Remember to please conclude within 30 seconds of the timer's red virtual background. And if you're interested in taking part, please notify me via private message on the Zoom chat. To start us off will be Tracy Mamu. Tracy, your question is, do you believe success happens by design or by chance? Explain your view. Do you believe success happens by design or by chance? Explain your view.
This feels like a very deja vu-ic moment. When I first arrived at Watabaruku, I remember Kevin always picking on me for table topics. And alas, here we are. I find myself in the middle because I'm being prompted to say that success is something you plan. However, each and every one of us has a memory of someone around you with that, especially at school, who never seemed to study, but always got the best grades. So which one is it, to be or not to be? Lately, I'm learning that success is reflective of myself. Whatever it is I want to achieve, whatever it is I want to project onto the world, how I achieve or how I arrive there will not happen by chance. So in that aspect, it is something that is planned. However, also, since I am not God and therefore do not play poker with chance and fate in the weekend, there's also the aspect of God. So no matter how much you plan, sometimes you find yourself failing. Depending on which side of the scale you fall, you design your own fate. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Indeed, we design our own fate. Thank you also for accepting to speak on for a second time and for joining Watabaruku Toastmasters. The second question will be to Lorna Abaki. Lorna, what is one distraction you would eliminate to create a more meaningful time in your life? What is one distraction you would eliminate to create a more meaningful time in your life? Lorna Abaki.
Okay. At the beginning of this year, I knew I'm going to stretch the cords of my tent, and this meant stretching my capacity in terms of how I think, in terms of education, and also in terms of friendships. I knew that I would want friendships that are meaningful, friendships that are intentional. And since I am an author of a book called Why Intentionality Matters, this topic is very close to my heart. And that's why I realized that for me to be focused in life, I have to eliminate some distractions. And what are those distractions? Number one, friends who drain me instead of friends who make me to be the person that I want to be. Number two, digital platforms that take away my focus and makes me not to become intentional. What are those digital platforms? TikTok, Instagram, where I would spend time scrolling time and time over. And number three is books that are meaningless to me. For example, romantic books that are not going to add to my vocabulary or even make me have metanoia in terms of my capacity and education. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Lorna, for engaging us in your metanoic moment. Indeed, all the best as you stretch the cords of your tent. Our third question will go to our guest and Kangu, our guest. If you could ban one thing, what would it be? If you could ban one thing, what would it be? Over to you, Kangu. Kangu, are you with us? If you are, you could unmute yourself and answer that question. As he does that, I'll pass on the opportunity to Beryl Otieno. Beryl Otieno, if you could ban one thing, what would it be? If you could ban one thing, what would it be? Over to you, Beryl.
Okay, hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
So you can hear me loud and clear? Oh, okay. So if I could ban one thing in life, what could it be? I will ban the midnight oil. I am a performer and I'm a person who delivers in life and delivers in a goal. And I give anything I set my mind to 100%. So if I could ban anything, I will work more hard, put in more effort. And I also love the quote by Winston Churchill where he says, success is not final, failure is not fatal, but the courage to try again that matters. So I will burn the midnight oil and keep on keeping on till I succeed, in as much as success is not final. And if I fail, I know failure is not fatal. I'll keep on burning the midnight oil. So to our table topics master, if I could burn anything, I will burn the midnight oil. Back to you, table topics master.
Thank you so much, Beryl, for that wonderful quote on eternal vigilance. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our table topic session. I really do hope that it has granted you an opportunity for that Damascus moment, that metanoia, that may pivot you from being an average speaker to an extraordinary speaker. I'll hand it over back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Indeed. Thank you so much for that session, Toastmaster Kevin from Kimbio. And those questions were quite thought-provoking, which meant they were aligned to the theme intentionality, and you got metanoic responses. Well done. And I call upon the Sergeant at Arms to launch the best speaker poll, table topic speaker poll. Okay. What are the core areas of intentional living? Number one, mindset. What you think. Number two, actions. What you do. Number three, relationships. Who you build with. And number four, time. How you spend your day. Intentionality touches every part of your life. It's not selective. Intentional mindset means you choose positive growth-focused thinking. Challenge limiting beliefs, and you focus on what you can control. Your life follows your thoughts. So be intentional with what you allow into your mind. And this we picked from the response by Lorna about not going to TikTok so that you create time to grow in the areas that you need to develop yourself in. Intentional actions, what does that mean? It is aligning your actions with your goals. You avoid distractions and procrastination. You do what matters, not just what's easy. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Okay? Hope you're learning something there. You need to build an intentional life plan. And this is by you defining your values. You set clear goals and you create actionable steps. And finally, track and adjust regularly. As we segue to our evaluations, which is our third and final segment, I'll be welcoming our content evaluator and delivery evaluator and the language evaluator. And they'll be evaluating Toastmaster Maggy Wathiru's speech. Our content evaluator, Robert Agutu, I'm sure will tell us more about how intentionality has helped him. While I received feedback from the delivery evaluator, that was Andrew Kamanu. And his feedback was, in being intentional, he has managed to accept and handle more responsibilities that have made him a more metanoic leader and an individual in all the spheres of his life. Welcome, Robert Agutu, to give your content evaluation to Toastmasters Maggy Wathiru's speech.
Thank you once again, Laurie. Just to answer your question on intentionality, what I do personally is that I'm very intentional on just being present in everything that I do, from when it comes to friendships, when it comes to responsibilities. I like to be present in everything that I do, and that makes me feel more comfortable and basically just to exemplify what it is to be intentional. It's something that I like to do, just to be ever present in everything that I do. So thank you for that question. Now we go on to evaluating DTM Maggy Wathiru's speech, and truly it was a privilege to witness the 5 to 7 minutes of the speech, exemplary speech that she gave. And you truly showed what it is to be Maggy 5.4. A few things that I can talk about on what you excelled at, particularly your effectiveness of communication and how you are able to bring out what it is. Another thing is how you started your speech when you're talking about back in the 1980s and 90s and using the prop to then show what it was when you're using the post office letter, and then going on to then show the significance that even after you've spoken, that once whatever you've posted, once it's done, it's completely done, which was really nice, and I appreciated that. Your use of humor as well, particularly when you're talking about your mother and whenever you had conflict with any of your siblings, or about how you'd face each other and have to make sure that you talk to each other irrespective of the situation or the time of day, is something that I also truly appreciated. Another thing is that you obviously understood the objective of the speech, which was understanding your communication style, which you then highlighted very well, which was your support, which was supportive, and your weaker one was initiating, which actually was a case of cognitive dissonance, which is because it's something that has since evolved, which then shows that communication style is something that you evolve over time as you continue to grow as an individual, which is something I truly appreciated. As I would like to then highlight maybe something that you'd like to work on as you progress in your speeches. One thing that I felt you could have looked into was maybe interlink between the fact that you talked about 1980s and 90s, and also it would have been nice to interlink it with maybe modern styles of communication and things that are happening, and maybe interlink them with your current style and how that has impacted you. Also, because of the fact that you talked about Maggy Wathiru 5.4, it would have been nice to have brought that out maybe in another way. All in all, you excelled truly in your use of humor, your understanding of the objective, as well as your use of cognitive dissonance. The one thing I would like you to work on is just to interlink with the old and new forms of communication, just to amplify the quality of your speech. All in all, you excelled, and I look forward to hearing more and more of the speeches moving forward. Congratulations, and back to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much for that feedback, our content evaluator. I now welcome our delivery evaluator, Andrew Kamanu.
Thank you very much, our TMOD. DTM Lioness Maggy Wathiru. Indeed, your communication style is your superpower. You did exactly that and showcased the communication style. And these are the areas where I felt you excelled at in your delivery. One is your body language. When you are talking about the two characters of the leaders, being approachable and avoiding conflict, showing the gestures, that was good. When you're saying, this is me, this is me, we could actually see and feel what you're talking about. The second aspect of your speech that I loved is your strong vocal delivery. Your voice was easy to follow from start to end. Your prowess in your vocal regulation, the pacing, the pitch was excellent, and you managed to communicate your message effectively. I could feel the metanoic shift of the audience towards the end as we received your message. And lastly, I loved your use of props. You managed to show the letter at the beginning of your speech without interrupting your delivery. That was excellent. Keep it up. One area I would propose to improve on is on the use of stage. While your back and forth movements were quite easy to follow and seemed natural, I would recommend and propose for more effective delivery, better use of your side-to-side movement. For example, when you are talking to the two types of people, for example, someone in senior management versus a gatekeeper, that would have been an excellent point of your speech to move side by side, showing the difference between the two people, two entities, two different things that you would be talking about. It would have a better impact when you moved side by side. That being said, that speech was superbly well done and an excellent speech. Keep improving what you excelled at. That is the use of your body language, your strong vocal variety, and your effective use of props, and improve on the slight areas of your stage movement. In that way, you'll continue being the excellent speaker you are. Remember, when it comes to intentional delivery, it's about making the decisions before circumstances make the decisions for you. Thank you, and over to you, our language evaluator, Syria Rama.
Thank you very much for passing the baton there. I would like to congratulate Maggy on fantastic use of the English language. In terms of appropriateness, clear understanding of the purpose of the use of the English language, you got a score of 9, and grammar, you got a score of 10. I did not find any misuse or wrong grammatical use of the English language. You did use the word of the day, metanoic, after which everybody used it following your usage of the word metanoic. I liked that you used phrases like "do not get it twisted," "your mother did not take any fools," "until the ice broke." That was good use of the English language, or decorative use of the language. What could you have done better? What I picked was when you were speaking about the writer that you love to read from, instead of saying, "there's a writer I love to read from," you could say, "there's a writer whose books I love to read." And then I picked a use of slang, which is a word you love to use, which is cause. Now, depending on the situation and where you use it, then you could use because. Otherwise, your pronunciation is great. Your use of the English language and your mastery of the language is fantastic. I will then pass the baton back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much for that evaluations from our evaluators. We move on to our next set of evaluators. And this is the evaluation of Fatma Amiyo's speech. And the content evaluator is Arether Wanjiru. Her response to my question was, she has been intentional in how she has raised her two sons, aged 13 and 17 years. She continues to achieve this through teaching character, modeling integrity, and encouraging resilience, while pointing them to God. And it has been a metanoic experience. The delivery evaluator is Oltesh Thobias. His response was quite interesting. He went to the UK for a degree without a sponsor or any money. But because of the power of compound an effect of intentionality. He did not only go back home with a certificate in his master's postgraduate degree, but also he got, wait for this, the love of his life. He got a marriage certificate too. The language evaluator remains Syria Rama. Arether Wanjiru, please give us the content evaluation of Fatma Amiyo's speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. It is indeed, again, my privilege to be delivering this evaluation. And there's a quote out there. It doesn't necessarily have an author, but content is key. Toastmaster Fatma, as I deliver and wait for my screen to come forward, thank you for delivering such a well-organized speech that had a clear opening, an amazing and memorable structure, and a great conclusion. Because of your thoughts and your speech about mentoring, I believe, as your evaluator, and I believe the audience was able to capture your ideas. They flowed in a very structural way. From the word go, the speech was engaging. Notice how Fatma started off the speech by informing us about how earlier this year she was assigned a mentee at work. And I thought that was amazing because we do a lot of mentoring things in Toastmasters. Do we ever relate this to the workplace? Thank you, Fatma, for bringing this forward. As a Toastmaster, she felt that she had the adequate tools to take on this mentorship for her work colleague. And despite the fact that she may have had doubts in the beginning, because she mentioned that she was held back, wondering if she was best suited for this particular mentee, eventually she was able to settle back and she was able to settle down, and she invited the colleague for a meeting, and they started on working on their mentorship relationship. And she brought out a very key and core idea: trust. Toastmaster Fatma, as I mentioned, I enjoyed your speech because it was well structured. It had a great flow of ideas with nuggets that were very easy to follow. You used the structure, the rule of three in your speech structure, especially when you brought out the element of trust. You talked about trusting yourself, trusting your mentee, and then trusting the process. I love that each of these key elements, you are able to break it down. As an audience and as your evaluator, I believe that you brought in some metanoia in my life because I now am able to remember to trust the process and to also trust my mentee. And it is reminding me to go back to my Toastmasters pathway mentorship, pathway, should I say, the Toastmasters mentor pathway, which I unlocked like you a couple of, should I say, years ago, and I've never gone to complete it. So I will go. Thank you for that nudge. Toastmaster Fatma, I also enjoyed your conclusion because you brought out something impactful. You delivered a well-organized speech. You had a clear opening, an amazing and memorable structure, but you also had a great call to action. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. There's a lot of strength in sharing. Keep sharing, Fatma. One idea that I believe would help the speech, elevate the speech, is possibly introduce some dialogue in your speech to bring out a bit of the engagements that you had with your mentee. Other than that, I urge you to move forward. I would now like to bring our content evaluator, DTM Oltesh Thobias, to deliver his evaluation. Over to you, Oltesh.
Thank you very much, Arether. Fatma, what an engaging and educational speech. You have motivated me, just like what Arether said. I need to go back and pay a bit more attention to this mentoring aspect. When evaluating your speech, I was specifically looking for 4 major items: your physical appearance, body language, voice, and platform style. Going back to the first one, physical appearance was formal. I could easily say that you look like a mentor. You know, sometimes you're assigned a mentor and you're like, this one, I'm not sure. But for you, just standing there, you know, with your appearance formally dressed, I felt that this is someone that I can trust with guidance. Your body language reinforced your message. You were composed, intentional. And your gestures were not just coming out of the blue because you wanted to fill the day. They were intentional. You smiled. You smiled. And apologies for the interruption. I'm traveling. So, you smiled. Apologies for that interruption. You smiled, and when it was time for you to share an idea like thinking, you looked up to indicate that you were thinking about something. Your voice went and accompanied the message that you were sharing. For example, you said, amazing, or do you know what? And that really pulled us into listening to what you're saying. You also included dialogue, and there was change of speed in your message. You slowed up when there was an important information that you were sharing, and you paced faster when probably what we needed to hear was not necessarily that critical. The platform style, you spoke with assurance and confidence. You showed interest to the audience by encouraging us to trust, but also you shared with us the advantages of mentoring. What are some of the areas that I would encourage you to pay attention to in your next speech? I noted that you were clasping your hands. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just shows that maybe there was information that you were not as comfortable in sharing. So if you have your hands open like this, it shows trust. You could have also done with a few more pauses, especially when what you're sharing was important. There was a lot of space for you to move to the left and to the right across the stage, even back and forth. I see that there was enough space for you to do all this, just to keep us engaged in your speech. I would have loved to hear you wrapping your message with the title of your speech, The Strength in Sharing. It came out in your speech, but probably you could have ended up your speech with the same title so that it would have just allowed us to maybe engage more with your message. Having said that, your physical appearance was intentional. Your body language carried the message that you were sharing. Your voice accompanied the message, and your platform style is something that all of us would like to emulate. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. I believe that I'm supposed to invite the third evaluator.
Yes, please.
All right, please go ahead.
Thank you, Oltesh, for that evaluation. Fatma, congratulations. Your use of grammar is great, actually at an excellent level. Your pronunciation is fantastic. Your use of the English language is also at a very high level. I picked up 2 crutch words for, what did you use? You used once, and you used so. You use so at the beginning of a sentence. So this first meeting, it was unnecessary. You could have just said the first meeting. Then the other error that I picked up was to take through someone. Best use of the phrase is to take someone through. And then you also mentioned she had been trained on. Better use or better positioning would be had been trained in. Then you did use the phrase, we don't know what happens tomorrow. I picked that up in terms of tense, the tense in the sentence or in using the words that you have used together with each other. We don't know what happens tomorrow. Happens is present, yet we are speaking about the future. A better way to say that is we don't know what will happen tomorrow, or we don't know what tomorrow holds, or we never know what tomorrow brings. You did use an idiom and a metaphor that I picked up. You mentioned, or you said a day at a time, which is an idiom, very good use of the language. Standing on the shoulders of giants is how you closed your speech. That was great. That was a metaphor that we can adopt. And it was used appropriately based on the type of speech or speech that you were giving about a mentor and mentee relationship. So congratulations, and I have used so. Congratulations, Fatma. Back to you, Madam TMOD.
Yes, we are always learning. Even the super grammarian is learning. Thank you so much for the perspicacious evaluations from our very esteemed evaluators, set of evaluators for our two speakers. I now ask the SAA to launch the best evaluator poll. As the polls continue, just to reiterate, how do we build an intentional life plan? And as I'd mentioned, you define your values. You set clear goals. You create actionable steps, and you track and adjust regularly. Intentionality, therefore, means requires planning. Clarity turns dreams into reality. We now move to our report section, and I want to call upon the super grammarian to give us her report. Welcome, Toastmaster Syria Rama.
Good evening again, Toastmasters and guests. And I must say, by far, I will be coming back to do this role again. It has stretched me. It has made me think beyond my regular use of the language. But most importantly, it has forced me to listen very intentionally to everybody speaking in the meeting. I will begin with the use of the word of the day. Metanoia has been used so many times I lost count, both in its noun form and its adjective form. Metanoic is an adjective, metanoia is a noun. The person who used it most was Laurie, but we also had the word used by Maggy, Arether, Fatma, Kevin, Lorna, and Andrew. The person who used it most appropriately, however, was Arether, because you have to use the word along with the weight of the meaning of the word. So metanoia is transformative. It is something huge that has happened that has forced you to shift or change your life. And so using metanoic as an adjective is not grammatically wrong. However, it is good to use it along with the weight of the word. If I move along to the disfluencies, and I love this super grammarian tool that DTM Kevin sent to me. Our inappropriate use of language, that is either crutch words or filler sounds. We have Fatma, who I had already mentioned, used you know and so. DTM Robert, your crutch word is ah. You join it so much together with your words that it sounds like it's an accent, but you do use the word ah. So just to look out for that. I lost count. Laurie used okay inappropriately rather than a pause. Robert, you used basically and now as your crutch words. Andrew, I picked up an R. Arether, there, duplicated word, and then twice and so those are your crutch words, and Oltesh had one because of the interruption that he got. Otherwise, I think we're pretty good in terms of not using crutch words. Now, in terms of improper use of language, this is what I picked up the most. We have quite a number of places where the English language has been used inappropriately. For example, to be in this online experience, to be at this or to be attending this is better use of the phrase. Could you believe that? The way that it was used was in a past tense rather than asking us now. So better use would have been, can you believe that? Then there was, here it is, your team are telling you. Better use would have been, your team is giving you feedback. And then we had grow in each and every opportunity. A better use of the phrase would have been find any and every opportunity to grow. Then we had the pronunciations. Some pronunciations, poignant is pronounced poignant and not poignant. So if you use the word, please use it correctly. Then we had pivot. Pivot is pronounced pivot. So you can repeat after me where you are, everybody, pivot. And then there is inappropriate use of the word so. So should never be used at the beginning of a sentence. It is very American, it is used everywhere, but that does not mean it is correct. Please let us drop the use of the word so at the beginning of sentences. Then I see somebody said time and time over. It's better to use time and time again. Then there is the pronunciation of could, would, depending on which schools you went to, where you grew up, and we are not judging, the L is silent. So let us practice saying could, should, would without the L. Then, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters is a word that has single and plural version. When you are talking about a person is a Toastmaster, not a Toastmasters. So we need to use Toastmasters appropriately as well. Somebody used superbly well done. That is repetitive. You either say superbly or just well done. And then we have, yes, that's what I picked up in terms of inappropriate use of language. For the excellent use of language, whether it is literary, rhetorical, figurative, and so on and so forth. We had Beryl saying, burning the midnight oil. Fatma, as I had mentioned, a day at a time, standing on the shoulders of giants. Then Maggy, don't get it twisted, did not take any fools until the ice broke. Robert Agutu used cognitive dissonance. Very, how can I say? I'll look for the word later, but it was a good use of language. Arether gave us a call to action, and then Oltesh used coming out of the blue. And of course, Laurie shocked us by telling us how perspicacious we have been in this meeting, and then handed it over to me. So that is a match that I picked up. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Back to you, Madam TMOD.
Thank you. Let's give our Super Grammarian a round of applause for that reminder and educative session. Yes, every day we learn and we improve. Next, we go to our general. I'll invite our general evaluator, Toastmaster Wahiga Gichinga, to ameliorate her observations on today's online experience. Welcome, Toastmaster Wahiga.
Thank you, Laurie, Toastmaster of the day. I'm happy to be here with other members of Watabaruku, sowing seeds to steer the next metanoia in our lives. Now, analyzing today's meeting, I started analyzing it before the meeting started, actually weeks before the meeting started. I think 2 weeks ago, I was asked to be the general evaluator, and I said yes. And one thing I noticed about Watabaruku is the constant conversation and responses where everyone that is given a role takes effort. Of course, there are few that are not able to respond in time, but people take effort to show up, to confirm what needs to get done. And I saw that happening in the chat. So roles were filled up, and I also saw the preparation process, including the dry run. And I think it's been a while since I attended a meeting where there's a dry run, which shows the standards the club keeps, the support it gives to its members, and the excellence it wants to uphold. I joined in about 10 minutes before the meeting started, and I found the word game. And what it did to me, because I didn't know the introduction, was check if I'm an English-speaking person first, because those words have not appeared before me before. And what was interesting, we had 25 people in the room at that moment. And I think that's enthusiasm, that's initiative. And you can tell that people are looking forward to the meeting. And I think it gives good vibes. I don't know if the vibe is the correct word. I know Syria is still working. But of course, also encouraging the Toastmaster of the day, to start the meeting as they had planned to do. I like the way the meeting was recorded. There was warm welcome, and the essays set the tone of the meeting in such a good way. She sells the meeting, and she makes everybody feel so comfortable and how to plug into the meeting. The presiding officer also welcomed the guests, introduced the ESCO team, got everybody relaxed and to have fun with the club and interact with the ESCO members. And I found it interesting that the induction of the two members happened at the beginning of a meeting. And I think it tells how new members are welcomed and what value they hold to the club. And I think potential members who want to join Watabaruku, you know where you're placed. The TMOD was introduced befittingly, and she went ahead to introduce the theme. And I think what I loved most, or what was good with it, is that she brought out the connection point with the theme. And upselling that to us allowed us to connect the theme differently, other than just telling us about what the theme is about. Something else is that she had a signpost of what to expect in the meeting. And what that means is that if you're a guest, you don't get lost. When you come to the meeting, you're aware what happens when and what to expect when. We had a timer who introduced the role well. And I would want to point out the fact that they used the word of the day with the timing cards, giving it visibility and helping the work of the grammarian easier. And definitely people were sold into using the word metanoia. It was new, but interestingly used widely, which is good. The grammarian introduced the role well, and it was visual. She used the presentation, and I think part of listening or part of grasping communication, there are people who do well with visuals, and I think adding visuals to what she was saying ensure that she captures a wider audience than the ordinary. She went ahead to give a detailed report individually to the speakers and when she was called upon. The only challenge was time. And my advice for future grammarian roles, she loved the role and she wants to come back. So I think it's good that I let her know how to do it different, is you could cut off the feedback you've given to the speakers. So then it gives you room to to say what else you hadn't said, and that makes you stick within time. The TMOD kept the theme throughout the meeting. You were well prepared, Laurie, great nuggets that you gave each one of us. And perhaps what I would ask of you is that when you did very well, when you're moving from one section to the other, perhaps you could keep the nuggets to about 3 or 4 so that they are memorable, and so that then people want to keep jotting down, or in a way that makes sure that then the transition period is not longer than it should be. But you had good transitions, you were well prepared, you led the applause, and you were confident, and we all tapped the confidence you have. You have a calm confidence that gives reassurance. And then I think we tapped into that kept the energy flowing during the meeting. Moving to the speakers, we had the Metanoic, Maggy, and Fatima Amiyo, who gave great speeches that are value towards how to identify our communication styles and mentorship that are value towards even as we move out of this meeting. Moving on to the evaluators. Evaluators did a good job in introducing each of the speakers and explaining the objectives of each of the speakers, the 2 speakers we had. The recommendations were quite specific, they were clear, and they gave actionable steps. They were also quite detailed. And one thing I liked is linking feedback to particular parts of the speech, which demonstrates that the evaluators were listening and they were able to evaluate as need be. They used a sandwiched method, which was appropriate. The only challenge they had is time for Arether and Oltesh. And perhaps I would ask them to consider giving additional feedback away from the session. I know Oltesh had a disruption that interfered with the flow, but he recovered well and gave feedback. And one of the feedbacks that I thought was good was the trust beat that he gave to Fatma. She was talking about trust, so her body language needed to align with the trust she was speaking about. I think that was very key feedback that Oltesh gave. The table topic master had good introduction, questions aligned with the theme. My challenge to you is to consider asking the question before calling out a member to keep the suspense and make it a good game where everybody feels included. All in all, great meeting, high quality, preparation was evident. It's clear it's Watabaruku, an advanced club, and keep it Watabaruku. And back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Wahiga. Yes, we are at Watabaruku Advanced Club, and indeed each and every speaker has demonstrated the advancement of the club. Before I end my session, I want to invite the club installation officer, our Division B Director-elect, Faith Mbogo, to take us through this penultimate session before I take it back and close. Welcome, Toastmaster Faith Mbogo.
Thank you very much. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Good job, our Toastmaster of the day and the entire team. Tonight, I'm here to run through the installation of our newly elected leaders. Congratulations to you, Watabaruku Toastmasters Club, Advanced Toastmasters Club. It's such an honor and privilege to oversee this session. And to the leaders who led this club strongly to excellence, we commend you for a job well done. And to the members for supporting your leaders. This has been a super year. Well done for accepting the vow that you made and honoring it, that you would support your club leaders and your club towards success. At this juncture, I would like to ask, or maybe before I get to that point, to those that are not aware, if maybe we have a guest, installation of club officers is equivalent to swearing in of the public service leaders like the presidents in our country. So we're here to install all our new club leaders who have been elected to run through the Toastmasters calendar year of 1st July 2026 all through to 30th of June 2027. Back to where I was saying that at this juncture, I would like to invite all the current club leaders of Watabaruku Toastmasters, Advanced Toastmasters Club, to turn their video on, and for the non-executive committee members to turn off your videos so that we can begin the process of installation. Are all our videos off other than those of the current leaders? I'd like to presume so. Thank you. To you leaders, I can see we have Tigist, Hailu, Laurie, I wish we could rename. Nonetheless, to all our current nice, thank you. Yes, please, essay, kindly spotlight them all. Thank you very much. To you, dear leaders, the outgoing club officers of Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club, thank you for the work that you have done. Thank you for honoring your duties and responsibilities to serving this club. At this point, I'd like to declare that you are discharged from all further duties and responsibilities as club officers of this awesome club. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your service. Yes, let's applaud them. Next, I would ask all the current leaders to turn off their videos, and then we can ask the newly elected leaders to turn on their videos, and the sergeant at arms will spotlight each and every individual during the installation. I repeat, may all the newly elected leaders turn on their videos, but the sergeant at arms shall spotlight the leaders one at a time as we install them. Right, we will start in this order. First, let me congratulate you all for taking up this challenge to lead your club to success starting the 1st of July. Thank you for offering yourself to sacrifice some bit of your time, attention, and everything to ensuring that we continue raising the flag of our beloved club to greater heights. Thank you for honoring the call by some of your members to volunteer yourself to be elected and to challenge yourself to grow your leadership skills, just like as part of why you joined Toastmasters International. From the sergeant, I'll start in this order: the sergeant at arms, the club treasurer, the club secretary, the vice president public relations, vice president membership, the vice president education, and finally the club president. Therefore, I ask the sergeant at arms to kindly spotlight the sergeant at arms elect. Fantastic. Let's appreciate her. This is Catherine Posibori. Congratulations on your election, Catherine. I'd like to read out to you the role of a sergeant at arms. You will keep track of the club's physical property, such as the banner, lectern, timing device, and any other meeting materials. You will arrive early to prepare the meeting place for members and stay late to show all of the club's equipment. Now that is in the case of our physical club. Nonetheless, in the case of an online club, of course, you'll keep custody of the timers, cards as always, and any other material for your club. Of course, you will start the meetings early, set up the meeting, set up the meeting early, keep us engaged, and then leave as the last person. Your role plays your role is to play during the business meeting, speech contest, and any other club special events. For example, where you'll be escorting new members outside the club meeting place. not for an online meet or a physical meeting. Otherwise, in an online meeting, you could be greeting people or speaking to them on the side as you admit them into the club meeting. Now, I would like to ask you whether you accept the election to become the sergeant at arms of our beloved club.
I accept.
Well done. Let's appreciate her. Thank you for your service and wish you the best. And we hope that you will perform these duties to the best of your abilities. Correct? Thank you. All right, over to the club treasurer. Let's appreciate them all. Maggy, Wathiru, DTM, how are you?
Super, metanoic.
Fantastic. Thank you for accepting this role. I'd like to read out to you your role as a club accountant. In other words, you will manage the club's bank account, writing checks as approved by the club executive committee, and depositing membership dues payments and any other club revenues. You're also in charge of submitting membership dues payments to the world headquarters, filing any necessary tax documents, of which I think this we don't do here, and I did not shout that. Keeping timely, accurate, and up-to-date financial records for the club. Allow us to ask this question. Our club treasurer, do you accept the election of your role as a club treasurer?
I do. Thank you.
I hope you will serve us with the best of your ability, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next is our club secretary. Let's appreciate the incoming club treasurer as we spotlight the incoming club secretary. Do we have the secretary? Awesome. Mina Minor, DTM, I hope you're fine.
Yes, I am fine, Faith. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And congratulations on your election as the incoming secretary of our beloved club. I'd like to read out to you the role of a club secretary, which includes to maintain all club records, manage club files, handle club correspondence, and taking the minutes of each club as club meeting and the club executive committee meetings. You'll also be in charge of updating and distributing a rota of the current paid membership and keeping the club officer list for Toastmasters International. We urge you to be dedicated to your club just like all the rest of the members so that we can achieve the targets of our club. And at this moment, will you perform these duties to the best of your abilities?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Congratulations for that. Club members, we can appreciate Mina Minor, the incoming club secretary. Fourthly, would like to bring on board the incoming Vice President, Public Relations.
You could skip to VPM. I don't think she's present.
All right. Okay, then we'll move to the next person. This is the Vice President membership. Fantastic. Well done, Kevin Kimbio. Congratulations on your election. I would like to read out to you. I didn't ask. I hope you're fine. Are you okay this evening?
Thank you, Faith. I am fine.
Fantastic. I'd like to read out to you the role of a Vice President of Membership for your noting, which includes that you will promote the club and manage the process of bringing in guests and transforming them into members by initiating contact with guests, helping them feel welcome, and providing them with the information they need to join. You'll also maintain a constant influx of new people into your club. You will attentively monitor membership levels and strategize with the rest of the executive committee members about how to overcome membership challenges when they occur. Dear Kevin, do you accept to perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I accept.
Fantastic, well done. You're duly installed. Let's appreciate Kevin as the incoming Vice President membership. Next, I would like to invite the Vice President Education-elect. Yay, Fatma Amiyo. Nice to see you from a long time. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Great.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your election. Let me read out to you the duties of a Vice President Education, which includes scheduling members' speeches, verifying the completion of projects, and serving as a resource for questions about the education program, speech contest, and your club mentor program. You're an important source of Toastmasters international knowledge for club members, and it is your job to become familiar with all aspects of the Toastmasters education program. Fatma Amiyo, do you confirm that you will perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I confirm.
Awesome. Congratulations. May we appreciate the incoming Vice President of Education, and we wish you the very, very best. Ladies and gentlemen, next is the club president of our club, Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club. Let's appreciate the incoming president, Kevin Rubia. Well done. Congratulations, Kevin. I hope you're feeling nice about this. Are you okay tonight?
Be okay, thank you.
Fantastic. I'll read out to you the role of a club president, and I'll urge all members to keenly listen to this particular part. Toastmaster Dr. Kevin Rubia, DTM, having been elected the club president of Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club, you are its chief executive officer and are expected to preside at all club meetings and at all regular and special meetings of your executive committee. It is your challenge to see that this club enables its members to achieve their educational goals. It is also your challenge to see that your club helps the area, division, district, and Toastmasters International to meet their goals. Here we don't have a gavel today, but I'd ask you to accept this spotlighting as a symbol of your leadership and dedication to your office. This is a symbol of the power and authority given to you by the membership of this club. Use it wisely and with restraint. You're a member of your team as well as a leader. A team is more than a collection of people. It is an emotional force rooted in the feelings, thoughts, and actions of all members with a common goal of achievement, sharing, and mutual support. Work with your team members to create a healthy, dynamic club, a club of which everyone is proud of. Will you, as club president, accept this challenge and perform your duties to the best of your abilities?
I will.
Awesome. It is now my pleasure to declare you officially installed, you the president and all the executive committee members for the year 2026-2027. A round of applause. We can oh yes, show those emojis. We can clap with the mics on. We can celebrate them. As we give our incoming president Yay, let's celebrate them. Well done, congratulations, and thank you for accepting the election and of course being installed as the newly elected leaders of our club. So we ask you, President Kevin, could you please share a minute or two, within a minute or two, a speech to your club members? As a
Much
president.
obliged, Madam Division Director-elect. On 30th of June 2021, Watabaruku chartered as a bilingual Toastmasters club. Since then, past presidents Olo Ochieng, Mary Kipkemoi, Alligator Makori, Peter Mutua DTM, Kevin Kimbio, and outgoing president Robert Karanja DTM have led this club to become what it is today, the only advanced Toastmasters club in East Africa. It's an honor to follow in their footsteps. With the support of the incoming executive committee, I'm excited to lead the club to its next frontier, Smedley Distinguished status. To achieve that, we need more members. My fellow Watabaruku Toastmasters, let us each commit to bringing one member. That alone would double our membership and create a more supportive environment in which we will develop our communication and leadership skills. And for those who are not yet members of Watabaruku, what are you waiting for? If you've completed level 2 and are ready to advance your Toastmasters journey, like Lorna and Tracy, join us today. We'd love for you to be part of this legacy. As I conclude, I'm grateful for the trust you have placed in me. I look forward to serving alongside a dedicated executive committee and members as we work towards making 2026-2027 a Smedley distinguished year as we celebrate our 5th anniversary. After all, this is an advanced club. We do not retire from growth, we advance. Madam Division Director-elect.
Wow, what a wonderful speech. Congratulations, Kevin. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to leave us with just a few words from my end. To them that do not know me, my name is Faith Mbogo. I reside in Mombasa. I'm the current area director of the Pwani Clubs. And thanks to God and to those that had the trust in me, I am now the Division B Director-elect. It is such an honor to be here. I'm so happy to see the progress, and I'm looking forward to working together with you as a team. We belong to the same division. I commend you for a job well done. I've been hearing stories about Watabaruku Advance from Mombasa, that you do great evaluations, and I have witnessed that today. I encourage you to keep going, keep shining in that dashboard, keep working together. Though virtually present, we can feel your presence. We'll always find a way to jointly link up as a team. We are widely spread. We are in Tanzania, Mombasa, and Nairobi, both physically and online. Therefore, receive greetings from everyone. May we work together, team collaboration, excellence as it's top notch, at top notch. And please, trainers, you're an advanced club. Please let's spread the gospel out there, and may we all have a beautiful journey as we end the year and as we start a new one. I'll leave you with one quote by Phil Jackson, which says that the strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. And with the upcoming district leaders theme, which would be rising together. So let's rise together as a team, and may we be dependent of each other. Over to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Wow, congratulations. Let's give a round of applause to the new EXCO team at Watabaruku. And we want to thank the outgoing EXCO members for steering the ship smoothly fervently up to this point. To the new EXCO, we wish you all the best. And the call to action to the members, let's bring in more members. And as your president has said, looking forward to you getting to Smedley Distinguish. Well done. As I close, this is my call to action. Starting today, be present in your decisions. Choose purpose over convenience. Act with clarity and focus. Take ownership of your life. From my personal story, that experience built me as a leader to understand that the buck stops with me and no one else. No one else will design your life. You must take responsibility. Align your daily actions with your values, because a meaningful life is not found, it is created through intentional choices every single day. I end by thanking all the speakers, all the participants who have made this online experience very memorable for myself. Being my first time as a Toastmaster of the Day at Watabaruku, I was privileged to be part of you today, and I hope we've learned together, and I look forward to more engagements. Wishing you all a great weekend ahead. Back to you, Mr. President.
Let us intentionally put our hands together for our Toastmaster of the Day, Laurie Bweyenda, for helping us live intentionally. I see those hand claps. Keep them coming. Thank you so much, Laurie, for honoring our invite. And we look forward to you joining as a member and helping us live 2026-2027 more intentionally. Now we shall proceed to recognize those who won the Best Speaker, Best Table Topics, and Best Evaluator awards. Drum rolls, please. Best Table Topics goes to Toastmaster Lorna Abake. What a way to join us and take that certificate. Well done, Lorna. Next is the Best Evaluator. Syria Rama. Congratulations, Madam Super Grammarian. And last and not least, our best speaker or better speaker, Maggy Wathiru, Distinguished Toastmaster. Well done. Thank you all for bearing with us. We are 15 minutes beyond time, yet you have been patient with us. As time is far much spent, I'd like to call the meeting to a close. However, we shall engage further if you are amenable to it. Also, reach out to Fatma Amiyo, our incoming BPE, in case you'd like to take up a role in future meetings. I now call meeting number, this is meeting number
138.
138 of Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club adjourned.